I'm going to break down today for you my top 5 Instagram posts over the last few months and why they actually did so well. So what worked really well about these posts and what you can really take away in terms of what just has worked really well for me on Instagram recently. So I'm going to break down these posts. I'm going to show you what they look like and explain as well why I think they worked really well, what really worked about these posts, what is it that really connected with people. So we can as well just look at, what patterns that I'm noticing right now in the industry for service providers and coaches of what is just really working in terms of content as well. So the very first one I want to talk about is I made this much in Q1. So I shared all of my stats here and I was breaking down the full income numbers. So I'm going to show you here. So this was what the post looked like. I shared every single number that I could possibly think of from the last quarter. So I shared sales, I shared income with receipts as well, which I think is super important. I shared as well how much I actually spent on coaches and mentors, which is a super exciting one that you never really see the behind the scenes of for most people. I shared how much I invested in the stock market as well. I shared how many coaching call hours I spent. I shared how many posts I did, which was quite a lot. I shared trips abroad, how many fiction books I read, etc. And I really broke down what these numbers actually look like and, just the numbers behind this. And I think the thing which really worked here is the just transparency and just honest conversation, because you do not see this a lot. You do not often see someone brave enough to just share their actual financial numbers with people on the internet. So I think it's really cool just sharing that and getting to just be super transparent with people, sharing the receipts for everything, sharing the screenshots as well, so people can really just see the proof behind this. It's not just a random number they're seeing, right? But also just having an honest conversation around these of what actually went into these, what actually, this looked like a full picture as well of not just I invested, this much on mentors, but at the same time as doing that, I also invested this much into the stock market personally, actually just sharing the full conversation around all these things. And I think that's what really resonated with people here, is just not just sharing and throwing out one number, which sounds shiny, but actually just sharing the full context and the full picture behind those posts as well. The second one is the social media isn't real. So this was a little trend going around, which I jumped on as well. And it's sharing essentially just 5 things you are struggling with right now. And again, this really resonates because it's just such a real post and helps people to really connect as well. So this was what this post specifically looked like. Again, I went through 5 things which I'm struggling with at the moment and just a bit of the behind the scenes, which I think is really helpful for just humanizing your brand and just really going through to another level, to actually connect with people and just really resonate with people. And it means that you're not seen as someone who is unrelatable, someone who, people can't actually connect with. People are able to actually see, you're going through some of the same struggles they're going through. You're experiencing some of the same challenges, which I think is really nice, especially when you're a service provider and people are going to be working with you specifically. We want them to have some connection with you, of course, and some level of resonance with you. So this is such a helpful way to do this, doing something like this. The third one was what I really think about promising a result. So this was a really opinionated post, and this one, it sounds kind of shocking. It's got a really nice hook to it, of course, but I think it's also really helpful because it just helps people decide, do they resonate with your brand specifically? Do they resonate with how you view things, how you do things, how you set apart from anyone else who does the same thing as you, has the same title as you? This is really helpful for that. So again, I broke down what I really think about promising a result, and what I think you should do, how I think you should go about promising a result to clients, etc. So I really broke that down and just shared my belief around that, even if it isn't something which a lot of people will necessarily agree with. The right people who do want to work with me can agree with that and can really resonate with that and can then decide they want to work with me because I'm just standing out and I'm not just, I'm the same as everyone else. I'm not just sharing the same, opinions as everyone else, being very generic, etc. So that's really helpful there. The fourth one was Happy International Women's Day post. So I shared just a few key statements of the type of person I'm really wanting to attract and the type of person that is really an ideal client for me. So I was just going through some of those characteristics. So again, really nice because it was International Women's Day. So great to share something there, of course, but also just I was going through a lot of statements that my ideal client is going to resonate with. So essentially someone can just see, is this the right kind of place that I want to be in? So things like this, the woman who was told to be realistic, but went after her crazy dreams anyway, first in the family to start a business, inspired other women to start because you showed her it was possible, etc. So just very kind of inspiring, uplifting statements, which people can then resonate with and decide they want to work with me because they connect with that and they feel like they are that type of person. And then the fifth and final one was $22,000 since January, and I was breaking down what this actually looked like. I'm really showing this from a, on paper, it doesn't make sense perspective, but actually just being really transparent as well about what the exact numbers look like and how I actually got here as well. So obviously there's that very catchy hook perspective there, but also it's really going into as well just, you know, what people can actually learn from this. So, you know, here are the things that I actually specifically did, and I broke down what those big shifts were that I made to actually get this result, essentially. So showing people, you know, a bit of the behind the scenes of what this really did look like in reality. So those were the 5 posts, which I really noticed did particularly well over Q1. So I hope that has inspired you a little bit. If this has given you any ideas, been helpful for you in terms of your content as well, make sure you give it a like below and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the daily videos. And I will see you in the next one tomorrow.